themselves, but a little more talented.
Yeah.
But like Ireland, one thing I'm glad is Ireland's back to picking Irish players.
Yeah.
In Jack Charlton's day, it was beyond a joke, the amount of non-Irish players, and it seemed to be that he, as long as you were non-Irish, you got a better chance of being in the team with him.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, would you pick a player who wants to play for Ireland over a player that is like a superstar but only picked us as a last resort?
Oh yes.
You know what I mean? Like if you just say your Gareth Bale was some bit of Irish, but he only played with us because he couldn't get into the Wales team.
Yeah, well,
would you pick him,
now,
or
there's no way.
Would you go with McLean?
Well, there's no way I'd have picked Andy Townsend. There's no way I'd have ever picked him for Ireland, because he only chose Ireland when it became obvious he wasn't going to get capped by England. He held off. Ireland was trying to get him to sign for several years, and he kept holding it off because he thought he was going to get into the England team, and when he didn't, he then chose Ireland. You know, and you have a few more the same. Ray Houghton, he admits if Scotland had capped him, he would have went. He'd have went because he was Scottish, plain and simple. You know, as you said, James McLean wanted to play for Ireland. You have Duffy is from the north as well.
There's three fellas.
There's
from
three,
there,
yeah. There's three, and like they want to play. I actually believe there should be an all-Ireland team. It's way overdue. We have it in rugby. We have it in many sports. Why isn't it there? Again, it's self-serving interests.
It is. Would we be much better though with would there be many Northern Ireland players that get onto the?
Even if it was only two. It's too
Johnny Evans is Johnny Evans in defence.
Yeah, it's two better than you have. You know what I mean?
That's true.
And it gives you a better panel. You know? It mightn't automatically strengthen the team that much, but it means when one or two is missing, the standard doesn't drop. Would
you pick League of Ireland players?
If they're good enough.
If they're like hammering in goals week in, week out?
Well, no,
or does he need to move? Does your Dundalk player need to move to Preston? Do you know what I mean? And then
it is again. It was a bit like we were saying about the GA. The standard is a step up in standard.
Yeah.
A few of the Dundalk players have shown that they're Midland when they were playing in Europe.
Yeah.
You know, the hell their own there to a degree. But as you say, most of them better players get a transfer to the Championship in England.
That's true.
The Championship in England is much, much higher than the League of Ireland. Possibly League One in England is, you know, what I think Ireland need to do is, it's with the young players. A player who qualifies for Ireland, they should be trying to snap them up at youth level.
Yeah.
And if they're not willing to join them then, don't pick them in the future.
Yeah, when you see the youth academies that all the other countries have, like it's a Holland that when you get into the youth academies, they're training you. You're learning their whole system for the senior team from 12, 13, 14. Well, you're not just going on this coach wants this, but it's nearly like you're being bled into this.
Yeah,
brand of
Holland
football.
have a thing where yes, you are trained in their style of football.
Yeah. And then they pick managers to match it. They don't pick players to match the manager. They pick managers to match.
Well, they already have a list of. They had a list of managers for the last few years where they knew if they sacked this manager, who was taking over. The
Swansea tried that. Remember, Swansea tried that. They tried a brand of football, but they kept picking the manager.
To suit the brand.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of clubs do it. It's they have the same type of manager over and over and over. You know? But at international level. Now we mentioned Holland and that they're not missed out. They haven't qualified.
Yeah, that's true.
They haven't even made the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Their standard has gone down. Club football in Holland is not going. You know, the fact is the money went out of it. All the big leagues take their best players,
and then the players aren't lighting up other leagues either. Like
no,
United bought Depay. Depay, whatever you call him.
Yeah, and he's in the Dutch team at the moment.
He was tearing up the Dutch league.
Night.
And now he's playing in France.
Yeah.
He couldn't do it with United.
And like that's there isn't Premier League. What Dutch player is a star for any of the clubs?
That's true. You've there's Everton bought a fella. Klassen is a
Klassen, yeah, but I'm saying he hasn't lit up the Premier League yet.
No, and he won't with Everton.
haven't a clue. But like the last real good Dutch player in the English league was Robin van Persie.
That's true.
And that's a couple of years ago. The top Dutch player still is Robin of Bayern Munich. And again, he's still their star man. And like, he's near finished.
He's
in his 30s.
Definitely well into his 30s.
Yeah, 32, 33,
Yeah.
So, but the next crop haven't come. The Ajax Academy that was always world renowned for producing players.
Oh yeah, it was always there.
It has stopped. It's not producing them anymore. They're not coming. Now, what is happening though, the big clubs, English clubs, all that, they're taking these lads at 16 from the academy.
Oh, the scouting networks are gone crazy. Yes,
they're taking them, and so far none of them are coming through. What's happening is they stay 2 years in England, 3 years in England, and head back. Academies aren't working. It's all about numbers.
When you look at Chelsea's academy,
Chelsea's academy is
they're hoovering up all over,
and then that's a money making racket.
Yep, it's the offset fair play thing. It's something weird.
They have
something like 60 players on loan.
Well, they had 38 players on loan.
Yeah, if you go down through the young players,
I think it's
crazy.
I think it's 38. But what they do is then they sell them off when they show up well for their club. Like they have a link up with Vitesse Arnhem. I think there's 7 or 8 of them there.
Yeah,
and every year they send out a batch to them. But there is a rumour. I don't think it's liable to say it's a rumour that Abramovich, his companies sponsor clubs that they loan players to, that they sell players to. In other words, Abramovich gives a club 10 million in sponsorship to give them an extra 5 million back to Chelsea on a transfer.
Oh, right, I get you.
Of a player.
As a kickback.
As a kickback.
You're laundering your own money back towards you.
Yes. He can't give it to his own club that way, but he can sell a player. If you watch Chelsea player sales, they get outrageous fees for players that
David Lewis, 50 million to PSG.
Yeah.
And then gets sold back for 30.
Yeah.
For David Lewis.
They sold Oscar to China for 50 million. They're after selling Costa, who they didn't want.
Yeah,
to Atletico for 50 million.
They're crazy numbers for players that aren't wanted.
Yes, Oscar especially and Costa, 2 players that weren't wanted, and yet if any other club was selling those 2 players, they'd have been getting half the fees or less.
Yeah,
and yet Chelsea somehow are getting it, and the rumour is that there's crooked deals been done between billionaires behind the scenes.
Oh,
well, you say
Mr. Abramovich, Ed's on to you.
Well, you see, Abramovich, his first way of getting around financial fair play was to sell shares in Chelsea to himself. He issued more shares,
and he bought them up.
He owns Chelsea 100%.
Yeah.
So
B shares and your C shares. Yeah.
He done a share issue. And bought all of them himself and gave all that money to Chelsea.
That's brilliant.
Plus, people don't realise it. All the money Abramovich has given Chelsea is in the form of a loan.
Oh, like a director's loan, is it?
He can actually ask for it back
if he ever
wants to.
Yeah, if he ever kind of leaves or gets
if he got fed
out.
up. If he got fed up of it.
Yeah.
He could actually destroy Chelsea.
Or if anyone wanted to buy Chelsea, they'd have to pay him off first, and then
Chelsea would have to pay him off. Yeah,
it's a good saving scheme, isn't it?
But you have Man City. They're sponsored by a brother of the owner.
Yeah.
PSG, or their own. Both Chelsea,
PSG are sponsored by a country.
Yeah, so is Man City. Man City are owned, and PSG are owned by a country.
Crazy,
and so that's how the money has been pumped in. But it's this idea that the media have put forward in England that all clubs are run by owners giving them money, when in fact in the Premier League out of 20 clubs, only 2 clubs, Man City and Chelsea, are funded by their owner.
Yeah.
Man United are mega rich, but they're not funded by the owner. If anything, he's fleecing them.
Not anymore.
The Glazers have been fleecing them.
Not anymore. To raise money, United now, they're sponsoring noodles in China. The money is coming in, but the money they're taking out isn't as much. But when the owners want to take money for themselves, they'll release B issue shares, right?
Yeah.
So these are shares mean you could buy. You get no say. Yeah. You get no say in the company. You get a nice certificate saying you have these shares. You don't get anything else, and they're taking the money from that.
Yeah, but the Glazers do take out a massive amount of money. And
the leverage is a serious amount as well.
And if they hadn't, Man United would be head and shoulders above every other club in England.
And we're back to that, though. United are back to that. They are
financially.
Yeah.
No, well, not as long as Chelsea and Man City are there. They're able to match them financially.
Yeah.
Even though they haven't the revenues. Man United have revenues double of anyone else.
Oh yeah, we could.
But they haven't the double the funds.
Yeah, we could have bought. We could have went for Neymar, Bale, and all, and not even get close to the fair play thing.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
But the owners are siphoning off still big money out of them and have for 10 years. Like, as I say, over a 10-year period, if that money hadn't been taken out,
yeah,
that'd have been massively, But as I say, the media have this myth that it's all sugar daddy clubs.
Oh yeah.
Look at the way they attack Arsenal all the time, but the owner isn't putting in money. Well, why should he?
Oh, that's true. Yeah. There's nothing to say an owner has to pump in 100 million every year.
They don't do it. There's 18 clubs of owners out of the 20 that do not put in money into the club. If the club is run on whatever they take in. But
the stadium, though, that done Arsenal, I think. I think it was the stadium.
That put them in that 20 million each year for 30 years been taken out.
And I think it's doing the same to Tottenham.
Well, yes.
Tottenham didn't buy much this summer at all.
If Tottenham don't win something this year,
yeah, they're going to be in trouble, I think.
Harry Kane and the Lake is probably likely leave.
Yeah.
Well, Harry Kane have really done one of superstar talent.
Ericsson.
No, there's...
Del Alli.
No,
if you read any English newspaper, Del Alli is the greatest thing that's ever come out of England.
They're starting to wake up to him now at the moment that they're realising he dives every game. He dived that penalty that they won the other night. That was a dive.
There's no retroactive thing about that.
FIFA are banning him for a dive he done in some other match there.
Yeah, the sooner bring in that retroactive thing.
Well, they have it in England, and yet they haven't done anyone yet.
Yeah.
They brought it in this season, and for some reason, because they're not going to pull an English player for doing it.
No,
they're waiting for a foreigner to dive.
As a United fan, I know we're going to get done.
And well, there's a ridiculous rule of it, of that retrospective. If you dive and the ref doesn't spot it, you get a 3-game ban if the panel decides you dived. But if the ref sees you and gives you booking, you don't even get a suspension. You have to get 5 bookings.
It's like dangerous tackles. If the ref has dealt with it, then they won't come back and touch it.
That needs to be done away with on all them things. Even if the referee spots it, action should be able to be taken afterwards. A player who he might only give a yellow in the game for diving should get a ban for diving. If the referee's report says, I booked him for diving, he should get a 1-game ban.
Then all it'll take will be 1 or 2 players to get done, and people will stop it.
Referees, managers will soon say to the players, don't dive, because you'll be missing the next game. And players will stop diving because you're going to lose your place.
Yeah, for 3 games.
Yeah. Or even 1 game for if you get booked for it, and 3 if you don't. If the ref doesn't book you. But getting back to Ireland, Martin O'Neill, he won't pick midfield that play football. And the big surprise is Martin O'Neill himself was a ball-playing midfielder.
Yeah.
He played in the Nottingham Forest team that played good football. Now, they did have a very stoic defence.
Yeah.
They had Kenny Burns and Larry Lloyd.
Yeah.
Like, they took no prisoners, But the midfield and the attack played.
Even Roy Keane, like the United teams he was in, it was box
again,
to box.
Roy Keane, he was a boxer. He was a talented footballer. His United team played great football, but
they don't want to know.
They have this thing. They're very much in the Jose Mourinho mould of you start with a 0-0, don't lose that. And
that's why Shane Long will always be picked.
Yeah,
he couldn't hit A cow's arse with a banjo. But he will run into a corner for a ball that's been hoofed up from defence. That's all he does.
He's gone 24 club and country games without scoring a goal.
But he will chase that ball into the corner.